Today should be an interesting one. Today we're going to talk about male masculinity and specifically about male masturbation. What motivates male masturbation? Should be an interesting one. Check it out. Hi, this is Brett, your favorite shrink, and welcome back. Welcome back to another My Five Minds production. And today we are looking at something weird, but that's kind of unusual for us. We're looking at male sexuality and particularly masturbation. And I know this is not like the funnest topic in the world, but I think it's super important because it affects so many relationships, and particularly spouses of men who are masturbating really get thrown off. They don't understand what's going on. And what do? Most of the time, their wives personalize it. They feel like they're not enough. They're not doing enough. So I think it's really important that we go through, talk a little bit about male sexuality, particularly masturbation, so you can understand as the spouse what's going on, and men can understand what's going on as well. So they kind of decrease their shame around it as well. So I'm going to start you off with a story. I had a patient who was on a vacation, and on his vacation, he had a dream. And the dream was actually about another friend. And the dream was about his other friend was married, and his other friend's wife, I guess that's the way the story goes, was the breadwinner. She was the champion. She was out there making money, living the dream, and he was stuck home. And his friend in this dream felt demasculated. He felt worthless. And in this dream, his friend again became sexually attracted and started to think about and desiring an affair. Now, the guy woke up from the dream kind of disturbed because he didn't want an affair, but in the dream, his friend wanted an affair. Now, again, dreams are weird. Dreams aren't to be taken too literally. But in this dream, he made a connection. He began to think about, is sexual desire, is libido connected to masculinity? And as he started to think about it, it started to make sense for him. So in our next session, he came in and he told me about the dream, and he told me about this kind of epiphany that he was feeling or having about sexuality and masculinity. And so we started talking about it for himself. And the more we started processing it, the more it became clear that it was true. It was true for him. In his world, my client, he was the king of the hill. He was the boss. He ran the show. He was in charge. And when he got home, it was a different story. It was a different deal. When he got home, he felt like he didn't run anything. He didn't feel like he was in charge of anything. He felt like everything he did, it was micromanaged by his spouse. And he pretty much relegated control and relegated power to her. But in doing so, he could feel his libido start to shut down, particularly towards his wife. And that caused him to start having desires outside the relationship. Desires he didn't want to have, desires he didn't look to have, but they were coming up for him. And the dream was a way that he could see where his sexual desires were going to go, but not to see it directly because it was about somebody else. But as we talked about in process, he could see that those were his desires as well. And so we came up with this really clear kind of connection. We're always looking for triggers, understanding sexual desire, particularly male sexual desire. And we came to an understanding that his male sexual desire, particularly his desire to act out of the relationship, was about masculinity. It was about his own masculinity. Now, this is really important. Masturbation, great word, right? Masturbation is about masculinity. This is important because a lot of times for spouses, we think about masturbation as about femininity. And it's just the opposite. Here's what I mean. Women look at a man, and when a man wants to masturbate or sexually act out, they instantly think that that's a statement about their femininity. It means that they're not attracted to their spouse. Their spouse isn't pretty enough, smart enough, beautiful enough, isn't enough stuff, right? But really, as we're talking through this revelation and this dream for him, it's not about femininity. It's about his masculinity. When he feels good about himself, when he feels empowered about himself, when he feels masculine, his sexual desires drop, actually, because he's feeling good about himself. But when he's feeling demasculated, emasculated, when he's feeling like he's not a man, his actual sexual desires and libido increase. Why? Because it's looking to compensate. It's the base brain, what I call B, the base brain wanting to feel good, wanting to feel power, wanting to feel masculine. And the way it wants to feel masculine is through sexual acting out, through masturbation. Now, why this is really important for both parties is because oftentimes for the woman, she's personalizing it and feeling like she's not doing enough. And it's really not about her in that sense at all. It's about him and what he needs to do to feel empowered, to feel powerful, to feel masculine again. Now, a woman will look at that and she again will think, well, do I need to make less decisions? Do I need to give him more control? Do I need to let him just boss everything around and do everything he wants to do whenever he wants to do it? No. And that wouldn't even work anyway. You can't give a man masculinity. That's not the way it works. Again, it's not a female problem. It's a male problem. It's a masculinity problem. What needs to happen is a man needs to be a man. And a man needs to take control of his life and create a voice for himself. So if he's feeling like he doesn't have a voice at home, if he's feeling like he doesn't have a say or doesn't have control, well, yes, the wife may be in control and she may be taking control because it's her household and she's kind of running things. But that's not a problem. What the problem is, he's given away control. Again, it's a masculine issue. She hasn't taken control, and if she has, it's because he's given up that control. Do you see the difference? A woman can't take control because a man is a man, and he has to have control of his own voice and his own decisions. If he chooses to say, hey, I want to keep peace, and I want to let my wife dictate everything that goes on in the house, then that's his choice. She didn't take away his power. He gave away his power. And in the reverse, if we're going to change this, if a man is going to feel a man in his own house, what has to happen is that he has to say what he's thinking. He has to say what he's feeling. He has to ask for his needs and wants. He has to speak up for what's frustrating him, hurting him, or disappointing him. Does that mean he has to make all the decisions? No. Does he even want to make all the decisions? No. But it does mean he has to get his voice back. And she can't give it to him. She can't say, what do you think? You speak up. Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're thinking. Because that's not going to create masculinity. He has to speak up and say, hey, I have my feelings. I'm feeling frustrated. Can I tell you my opinion about that? All of those things are things that he needs to do because it's him taking back his strength. That's the way he's going to find his masculinity again. Now, again, my hope is that this video provides insight for both genders and both sexes to be able to identify some of the issues that are going on. But in terms of fixing it, ladies, let the guy be in charge because he needs to be in charge of his own feelings. They're his. Again, I hope this was helpful. If you liked it, like it. If you want to learn more about systems and systemology, how the brain works, then subscribe. I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and you're watching My 5 Minds. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.